Hey, how's it going, guys? This is your boy Hazzed, and today we're going to be discussing things that need to be nerfed or tweaked on the Legion beta, guys. Now, don't take this as a cry video. I understand things are going to change, but this is going to be my input for the current state, things that either need to be tweaked or changed a little bit to make the game overall better for everybody. And honestly, I'm putting my own head on the chopping block with this, so don't think I'm just pointing the finger at everybody else. So let's talk about this, guys. So the first class we're going to have to discuss that definitely needs a tweak slash nerf is going to be an Outlaw Rogue. Now, it's definitely not for the damage. Damage on an Outlaw Rogue is actually pretty balanced as far as the damage goes. Mechanically, they're pretty strong because you can kite for days. Now, where this class becomes overpowered is with their healing. Now, they have an honor PvP talent right here you see called Drink Me Up Hearties, which gives you 3 charges of healing, which stacks with their original Crimson Vial. So you can imagine if you mix that kiting in with the 30% heal over 6 seconds, basically anytime you take damage, you can heal for 60% of your health and then kite out to full. Now, that's on a minute cooldown, so that one isn't as overpowered, but this one's only on a 30-second cooldown. So every minute, you basically get a 90% heal with these abilities. Yeah, so every minute, Outlaw Rogues get a full heal. Basically, it's like a lay on hands comparable. It'd be like a hunter being able to throw his healing dot on himself and not be able to die. I'm not going to get in combat because I didn't set up my bars on this character today. But that's how Outlaw Rogues need to be nerfed and changed a little bit. I actually saw that in a threes match the other day. I'll throw up the screenshot here in a second. But basically, this Outlaw Rogue was so strong, even with unholy dot damage and ranged abilities, he still just kited me out and healed a bunch, which was way too much. So let's go ahead and show you this screenshot. Right away, you guys can see that I did about 18 million damage, which is an insane amount on an Unholy DK. But also, as we can see, this Outlaw Rogue's healing, he did 12 million healing. He almost matched my damage in healing. He out-healed his healer and my healer, which is just way too much for a rogue. The second thing we are talking about that needs to be fine-tuned slash nerfed, guys, is going to be sub-rogues. Now, you're sitting here thinking, probably seen a lot of videos where sub-rogues don't do an insane amount of damage or nothing along those edges. Well, actually, they deal quite a bit of damage all around with Shadow Strike, which is a pretty good ability. Now, most people run Cold Blood trying to be more aggressive. I even did that to begin with. But I actually played against a 3k plus rogue that went with Dagger in the Dark. Now, the reason he went with Dagger in the Dark is each second while stealth is active, nearby enemies within 10 yards take an additional 10% damage from your stacks, from your next Shadow Strike for 5 seconds. Stacks up to 10 times. Guys, basically, you stealth on a target and you let that stack up to 50, you can half-shot almost prop pallies. It is absolutely insane if you pop your cooldowns. Of course, Shadow Dance, throw out a couple other abilities, throw out your Shadow Strike and Death from Above. You can literally just doo-doo on somebody, even a prop pally. Now, this strength isn't going to come initially from the fight in Arena. Where the strength's going to come from with Sub is when he goes into stealth and he comes up behind you and he hits you. And let's say you're fighting and you kill his partner or something. And the rogue goes off, uses cloak, vanishes, and he waits a bit as that stacks up on you. Of course, as this is an honor talent, I'm not able to show you exactly what it's going to do. But you can imagine 50% damage is, of course, absolutely insane. So what you're going to do is you go up to the target, you're going to pop your cooldowns or whatnot, and you're going to show that up. You're going to throw Shadow Dance, you're going to Death from Above with that 50% enhanced damage. That hit for 708k. 708k, guys. You know how much that means it's going to hit for in PvP when it has 40% more damage? Because we only had 10% of the damage there. 40% more damage there. That would have hit for easily over 1 million. Of course, we need to address the almighty king of battlegrounds, the Prot Pally. Obviously, guys. So why is prop pallies in PvP need to be nerfed, guys? Same with one of the other tanks we'll address soon. But basically, a prop pally is what I refer to as a Swiss Army knife. Now, what do I mean by that? It means they have healing, damage, defense, and mobility. Like, they straight up have everything. Now, guys, when you're going up against a class that is a Swiss Army knife, and honestly, guys, most classes that are DPS or PvP orientated aren't Swiss Army knives. Like a Frost DK has damage but low healing. rogues have a lot of damage to begin with. Of course, unless you're outlaw, you saw. You have low healing and defenses when you're caught out of stealth. You know, things like that are where certain classes slip up. Prop pallies, they don't have a weakness besides that crazy damage from a sub rogue. They literally have no weakness. They're a Swiss Army knife with everything you could imagine under the table. Now, prop pallies, they deal an insane amount of AoE pressure, of course, with their shield, and they basically has a consistent AoE they can smash on somebody with. Now, where does their crazy amount of damage actually come from? Now, I don't have a problem with Shield of Righteousness. I don't have a problem with Hammer of Righteousness being AoE, and I don't have a problem with the Judgment dealing a little bit of damage. I'm cool with all of that. The one thing that I have a problem with is how often Avenger's Shield procs when taking damage from other people in PvP and dealing pressure in PvP, because I've literally been able to global people by spamming that shield at them on like 4 times in a row, and they just die. They're just dead. Especially with the silence, like you take that after, some kind of caster, like it just crit right there for 400k, and then I got one right back and crit for another 280k, and that's like 600 and something k on a target. That's a lot of damage coming out, especially when it's a plate wearing, shield wearing healer that can bubble multiple different variations of bubble. It's a little bit too much for the PvP scene, and they definitely need to be nerfed. Damage-wise, guys, I'm cool with tanks being, a bit stronger, especially within the melee range in PvP. But when, casters are having way too much trouble killing tanks in PvP, something's wrong. So that's a bit too much. Of course, unless there's a fire mage in that pyroblast. But anyways, guys, so prop pallies, you basically just need a bit of damage mitigation, maybe some kind of internal PvP nerf to make them equal for a lot of other classes, because right now somebody that's very inexperienced on a prod pally can log on one, use certain talents, and still almost outperform some of the veterans in PvP just based on class alone, and that should never happen. So that brings us to our next class. Obviously, if I'm going to talk about one tank, I got to talk about the other tank. Now, this is what I'm talking about, putting my own head on the chopping block, guys. First thing we got to talk about is blood DKs. What needs to be fixed on blood DKs? Blood DKs literally have the same problem that prop pallies do. I had to actually recreate this blood DK because I deleted my other one to make a different class. But basically, the problem with blood DKs is they have huge single target damage, and they have huge AoE damage. And of course, they can dot at ranged, dot up multiple targets at ranged, to even deal more AoE pressure. And of course, they have Death Strike, which applies a melee shield, and also heals them for quite a bit. Which makes this class, again, just like a Swiss Army knife. They have defensive, they have mobility, they have self-healing, and this is the crazy part, the part that I couldn't believe they gave to Blood DKs. This is the part that makes it too overpowered, guys, for Blood DKs in PvP. Now, I'm cool with the Blood DK being really strong, being able to run into combat, take a lot of damage, and still deal a lot of pressure, but the fact that a Blood DK can run back here and hit this ability, deal a ton of damage at range, and heal up every 30 seconds, is way too much for a Blood DK to be able to do. And the fact that they can almost deal ranged pressure similar to an Unholy DK, if you have the rotation down correctly, is a bit too much. Now, this ability, if you couldn't move, but you can chase somebody with this Blood Drinker ability, still parry, still dodge, and still use defensive abilities while channeling this ability. It makes it way too strong, guys. Like, look at this. I can kite. I can go LOS. I'm still hitting it with this LOS. It's kind of like the Unholy scenario. And this is why Blood in 2s right now is just absolutely ridiculous in strength. As I was talking about before. Now, Blood doesn't have quite a bit as mobility as Prop, but because they have Blood Drinker to make up for it, they don't necessarily need it. I mean, of course, they still got grip and stuff. But overall, Blood DKs are absolutely insane when it comes to fighting DPS or double DPS in Arena at the moment. And as we know, currently on the Legion Beta, healers are not allowed in 2s. So you can imagine why tanks that are of certain nature are going to be way too strong, especially if they are the knives that I was talking about. Pocket knife. And it's gonna really put the game off balance. So let's jump over to the next class. And this is the one you guys were waiting for, honestly. You were like, wait for it, wait for it. No, my class sucks. It just needs buff Blizzard. Don't listen to me. No, guys, seriously. Okay, so what needs to be fixed with Frost? Guys, we are glass cannon status. We definitely don't need more healing. We don't need to be a Swiss Army knife. I'm cool with the damage, single target damage that we have. I love how bursty it is. I love how I can throw up Syndragoza, throw up a lot of abilities, and create a pretty high, nice, consistent burst. Now, it's not the actual burst or high damage itself that's overpowered on a Frost DK. What really is overpowered with the Frost DK is the AoE pressure. Now, I can't quite show you guys right here as an example, but what I can show you guys is, I'll probably put the video link in the description if I remember. If not, somebody remind me, because, you know, I do dumb things like that all the time. But anyways, guys, I'll put up a screenshot at the end of this that shows you exactly what was going on, what I'm talking about, because I played 3v3 arenas just, you know, messing around one day, and I ended up with a pug group. Well, my pug group ended up going against one of the rank 1 EU3's teams in the world, like 3K rated current players. And I went out there, I was basically just mongoloiding it. I wasn't actually taking full, you know, ability of my dark sim. Of course, you know, a lot of us are still, you know, questioning what we still have to second guess what we're doing in arena. And I apparently am a lot more fluent than a lot of people are. But the amount of damage I was able to put out, they were putting out like 8 million, even after like a pretty long match. And I was up 32, 33 million, just insane numbers. We're talking not double, we're talking over triple in threes. Now, was that due to the fact that their comp has pets? Probably, but the fact that I was able to almost quadruple their damage, and they are rank 1 top tier players in arena, guys. We're not dealing with idiots, is a bit too much. So obviously, guys, I got to put my own neck on the chopping block after seeing that. And let's talk about the last class. This is the screenshot that I was referring to, guys, where I was fighting the 3K CR players basically and doing over 35 million. It seems I was a little off there compared to their 8 million. If you add them up, times them by 2, I'm still doing more damage, guys. It's absolutely nuts. That's where AoE pressure in threes needs to be changed a bit. Now, I would have to say this is probably the least of the overpowered classes that need tweaked, guys. And of course, Unholy is going to be the last one. You're sitting there, oh, Hazzed, you jerk. Now, the only reason I'm saying this, guys, is the damage is still pretty high for AoE. It's still probably way too high for BGs. But the thing that's going to make this class, as you guys already know for watching my old videos, is going to be mechanically. This class is insane when it comes to being mechanically superior to so many other classes. And honestly, the only thing that's going to be an Unholy DK's weakness is a really good, probably, maybe Hunter is what I'm thinking. Probably a really good Hunter or something that can hit it at ranged and commit full pressure to him before the Unholy DK turns to him and actually is able to ramp up his damage is going to be what really is going to take on an Unholy DK. But yeah, the thing, of course, is going to be, of course, the crazy dot damage that spreads on its own, basically, and you can stand back and, you know, smash on Epidemic and not even have to look out there, but every once in a little bit to actually do something. Now, it doesn't sound too bad as long as it's a single Unholy DK, but can you imagine RBGs with 3 Unholy DK as a meta? Now, you're talking, or maybe 4 Unholy, maybe 5 Unholy DKs with an extra couple Frost DKs. You see where I'm going with this? Can you imagine a 3s team with a Frost DK and an Unholy DK at the moment? That team would absolutely just decimate every comp in the game. So obviously something needs to change there because people are going to be basically playing, you know, healer double DK teams, and we can't allow that to happen. That's a little bit too strong for our class. But it definitely needs to be tweaked. How to tweak this? I'm not exactly sure since it is mechanically superior. I'm more of a damage seeing things / percentage straightforward. And this one's going to kind of be a tougher one to do. Maybe make it not so easy to actually put dot pressure on multiple targets, but I mean, maybe make it take a little more time. I don't know. I can't actually put my finger on what exactly they need to slightly tweak to cause it to not be so powerful. Maybe nerf major cooldown on Dark Arbiter. maybe. I really couldn't tell you guys. Like, the fact that I'm able to blow cooldowns on Unholy DK when I spread dots to all three targets and bring all three targets to half health and nuke a healer to death using my pets was just way too much pressure for any healer to heal through, which will cause, like I was saying, Arena to like something like a Frost DK that has an insane amount of burst. Nothing's going to stay alive through that, guys. Nothing. Healers are not strong enough to live through that. So that's why I'm saying some of these classes need to be slightly tweaked. And honestly, guys, this is not a whiny crybaby video of me complaining about what it is. I'm just trying to make the game better for everyone overall. And these are the stuff that really stick out to me and I really want these things fixed because the game at this point is more balanced in PvP than it's been for years. I would have to say it's even more balanced than Wrath of the Lich King based upon the trimming. Now, guys, this is going to be the next video, is the top 10 reasons why Legion PvP is better than Warlords of Draenor. Now, to the untrained eye, you're going to be looking at the trimming and all the other stuff, and you're going to be like, wow, this is dumb. Why are we even doing this, guys? But it took me a long time. It took a lot of classes to really experience what's going on and to really know what I'm looking at. And you're sitting there thinking, well, all these little buttons, I'm going to have so much downtime and be bored. No, guys, remember, we play this game like Street Fighter now. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for my review video on what classes need to be tweaked a little bit, what classes need to be changed to make it overall better experience for everybody in the game. But that's going to be it, guys. Till next time, remember to leave a like. This is your boy Hazzed.